Hello, viewers. Welcome again to our weekly family program, The Living Room on Equa Television. This last few shows, we've been talking about parenting and raising our children. That is talking about discipline in the home. And one of the things we had agreed on was the fact that parenting and discipline is a responsibility of parents, and that parents need to be on the same page in raising their kids. They need to talk together, they need to pray together, and they need to understand and have a common goal on what they want to achieve in raising these kids. The other thing we have agreed on is also the fact that our standard for raising our children as Christians is the Word of God. Not what the world has to offer, but what God has to say. And in the last few sessions, we've really had interesting discussions on how to raise our kids. Today we'll be talking about raising teenagers, discipline in the home as regards teenagers. My name is Amaka Ocheke, and on the set today with me is one of my favorite sisters, Mrs. Ibwebe Namo, and also our brother, uncle, and many other things, Uncle Daniel Benjamin, who also works with children, evangelism. Is it fellowship or ministry?
Fellowship.
Fellowship. Yeah, so he's really hands-on with raising children. So now today we'll be talking about teenagers, and that seems to be a nightmare for parents in raising, when you talk about raising teenagers, before they get to the point, I'm sure parents have heard so many stories, so they are all scared and worried about raising this group of individuals who are no more children and are not yet adults. So what's the challenge? What's it that parents are scared of in raising teenagers? When we talk about teenagers, everybody is scared. Mrs. Namo, we'll start with you. What's the challenge?
The major challenge is that teenagers see themselves as adults, so they don't want you to treat them like children. So they stand up to you as not like when you say sit down, they sit down, go wash plate, they go wash plate, because they see themselves now as I'm grown up, you know. In fact, some of them measure their height with their parents.
And they are growing taller than us.
You know, some of them have grown taller than you. Okay. So you are talking to somebody and he's bent like this and he's looking at you up there and, you know.
Or down there.
Or down there, you know. So and some of them have big bodies, especially the boys. They look bigger than their mothers. So their mothers want to talk. If you don't stand your ground, you know, they intimidate you with their size.
Okay, Uncle Dan, what are the scary things about raising teenagers? You've been working with them, and I know you have some of them as your very good friends.
Okay, the teenagers are not adults, and as well, they are not children. I think the scary part is that parent thinks they are children and they don't see themselves as children.
I don't even agree with that.
And parents knew they were not adults and they want to venture into the adulthood faster than they think. So I think that is where the problem lies. They are not children and they are not adults, and parents really also don't know where to place them.
Okay, and they too seem not to know where to place themselves. Yeah. They want to be treated like adults, but they can't do adult things. At least they can't pay their bills.
They can't
they can't leave the home. Like they can't take responsibility. So it's
a big time for serious confusion and relearning about life.
Yeah, and then it's also a period of a lot of rebellion. Many children begin to rebel at that age. So what is it? Okay, let's talk about the physical things about teenagers. You said something about the fact that the guys are sometimes taller than parents, though they are slow starters who initially seem short and then later shoot up. So physically, what are the things we're looking at teenagers? Because the preteens, we said that some of their secondary sexual characteristics have started developing. Now, what happens with teens?
They have, sometimes they have everything that an adult has. Sexually, they are matured. a teenage boy can get a woman pregnant. So
and a teenage girl can
get pregnant. So they have all the physical features of adults. So that's why there is a confusing stage in life, because like our brother said, they are not adults, they are not children. So there are a lot of confusion about who am I really? What is happening to me? Why can't I just be like daddy? I know I'm not supposed to be like my kid brother, but why can't I be like daddy, And at that point, they want to take over the world. They feel like everything should be theirs, and the entertainment industry is not making things easy for them, because they throw things at them like, somebody made it at 13, somebody made it at 15. So they see themselves, that's why they get easily depressed, because they feel that they should have achieved more than they are achieving. So some of the physical feature is their bodies are changing. They
have adult bodies, but not yet adult
mind, and their brain is not working like adults.
So Uncle Dan, mentally, psychologically, what is it about teens? Where are they at? Because we've already said they are not yet adults. So where are they?
Okay, physically they are changing too fast. Usually faster than they think they will.
Okay.
Yes, the growth rate is very fast, but the issue is this: the physical changes are faster than the mental changes. So it causes an imbalance. And I have a broad voice, a big body, and I have everything grown, but the use of it, I don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
Then the knowledge about the use of it is very shallow. That is why mentally they are actually not set. They really had mood swing. One moment they are very happy, the other moment they are very sad. So they have too many moments and no stable moments. So mentally they are really, really, really depressed. Mentally they are really, really happy at a point in time. And because the vision for the future is not there, so they see the now and they want to live for the now. And that brings the most confusion for them. They live for the now. That is why most teens will tell the parent, I want to discover this, but they don't have the knowledge for it. So that mental instability will always cause problem in the home. The parent sees them as, you cannot do these things, and they want to venture into that because they are discoverer mentally. They try to discover more about the world, because right now they are not in the children world. They are
not
also in the adult world. So they want to discover which world are we. And that is why they are very, very inquisitive mentally.
And also confused. And that will
and they need serious parental guidance at this time.
Okay.
Serious one.
So, okay, what of socially? Where are they at?
They are very sociable, actually. And peer pressure is one major part
that's the
that
issue I wanted
them.
to raise. Yeah.
They can easily bend towards their peers.
Why do they do that?
Because they think that adults don't understand them. Most times, and somehow it looks like, yes, a lot of adults don't understand that they have crisis going on. They have identity crisis, they have self-esteem crisis, they have a lot of crises, like he mentioned, a lot of confusion, a lot of where should I go, who am I, what is happening to me, why can't I do this, why can't I do that is going on. And instead of you understanding that this person is going through a time, you are adding more pressure by telling him, oh, you didn't make your results, don't you know you are supposed to do this, don't you?
And all the other things they are not doing.
Sometimes we even tell them that you are no longer a child, and he was like, okay, yeah, I'm no longer a child, but who am I? So those confusion are there. So
that's
socially,
that's lack or poor understanding by parents makes them gravitate more
to their
towards
peers,
their peers.
because it looks like their peers understand them more. Because once they bring out this issue from parents and say, look at my dad, look at, you say, forget that your father, you know, all these old men, they don't know anything, they don't understand. Just leave them alone. See, this is the real world. And the entertainment industry, they cash in on that world, that teenage world. They are more like adults who understand teenage world, and they
try to cash in on it.
They manipulate it to suit these teenagers. So the teenagers enter into it and feel like that's the real world. That's why they cut their hair to look like them. They want to wear clothes to look like them.
So
they want to eat
them.
food to look like them, because they seem to be understanding them more than parents understand them.
Okay, Dan, do you have other things why peer pressure is such a problem for this?
Socially, they are outgoing. And socially, they remove loyalty from parents to peers. So at this stage, they usually do not disclose to parents. They will rather ask their peers, and they fall into the trap of peer pressure, because it seems like all other persons are doing it except me. Most especially for the teenagers that are standing for Christ. They have a divergent view from the rest of the world. So socially, they are usually unstable, because they are influenced by so many information rushing down to them. So selecting which information is best is the problem. So socially, they make more friends. They are outgoing. They will always want to spend time outside. That's why you see them, they'll tell mommy, in our next coming holiday, we are going to visit somewhere. They are tired of the home circumstance.
It's boring.
It's boring. They've been there for a while. They want to exploit the world. So socially, they are outgoing. Socially, they want to discover what other people are like. And usually, they fall the risks of peer pressure and other pressure that is really, really frustrating things. Most especially the social media. At this time, they want to get an account on Facebook. At this time, they want a WhatsApp page for themselves, Instagram. And the moment they get into that space, they are lost in limbo. Identity crisis will set in. So socially, they suffer a lot of identity crisis because they don't really know who they are, and they want to copy an hero. If their hero is the wrong one, your trouble is cut out for you.
Okay. So parents, I hope we're listening and we're appreciating this group of special people. They are not children.
They are not
adults. And they are in a place where they are trying to understand themselves and understand the world. And there's a lot of pressure around them. And then the world out there is trying to arrange things to draw them in to the wrong path. And so it's like we're in a battlefield. So we want to talk about what we can do as parents in disciplining these children. Now, we had said in the past that when we talk about discipline, it's not just punishing people, but encouraging children to go in the right path. So how do we discipline this group of people? Over the past episodes, we've been talking about training children at different stages. And I think one of the things that would help this group of people is the fact that we have been doing what we had been talking about over the last few episodes. So if we have been nurturing these children right from early childhood, by the time and we are their friends, we are close to them, by the time we get to this teenage age, yes, it may be a bit turbulent, but I don't think it will be as turbulent as we see some teenagers going through that phase. If we've been doing all that we are supposed to be doing, being close to them, causing or creating an environment where they can open up, they can talk to us without being judged. We talk to them. I think when they get to the teen ages, I think it's easier to navigate than to wait until they are teenagers and they will start to try to put things on ground. And before I let you make some comments, I remember children of a friend of mine. I was talking with them. They are teenagers right now. And they said all growing up that their mommy didn't have time for them. She doesn't talk to them. She doesn't gist with them. She doesn't hear their views, whatever. Then suddenly they say, imagine mommy, recently she came to our room. She said she wants to gist with us. That we're all just looking at her. That she doesn't know it's too late.
It's too late.
And I laughed with them, but I felt sad. But mommy didn't start early with them. And now she wants to know about them and they're not ready to talk to her. Anyway, that's just to have at the back of our mind. So as parents now, how do we walk around these children to put them on the right path and get the best out of them? Maybe Uncle Dan will start with you.
Okay, let me start with this scripture that says, the Bible says, come now, let's reason together, says the Lord.
Isaiah 1:18.
Isaiah 1:18. The moment your child turns 13, he is no longer a kid. Stop being bossy. Parent, stop being bossy. It will create the life of rebellion in your child. Even if he doesn't show it, but it's growing. It's growing. The best way to really start is start reasoning with them. At that point in time, I want to plead with parents, allow for their opinion in their upbringing. There is stake too in the whole matter. If you want to train me and I'm 13, at least hear a little or a bit of what I want to do, what I want to be, and not what you desire me to be. I discovered that many parents want their children to live their own dream. Many parents want their children to live their own lifestyle. I discovered that many parents are lording it over their children. If they turn teenagers, please stop lording it over them. At least reduce the Lord of the Rings and listen to them. That is why you always hear this quotation from children. Oh, I wish my daddy understand me. I wish my mommy understand me. Understanding had been the problem in the home. Because the parents are used to lord it over the children during the preteens and the children stage, the childhood time. Now that they are teenagers, they want to follow the old method. Please, at teens, the first thing I want to encourage parents to do is to stop being bossy and open more of your ears. I think that's the best time for the parent to go back to school. The school of teenage war. Allow the children and reason with them,
okay, Daniel,
rather than lording over them.
I'd like you to break down this thing. You know, okay. So what is the reason with that? I say, okay, please, Dan, now, so how do we train you? Okay. Come and tell us. Like, you have given them all the power.
Yes. Eh? Now, children timing matters.
Okay.
They have gone to school and they are back. You tell them, do your own work, and they've done it. After the homework, you give them house chores, and they've done it. You say it's time to eat, and they've eaten. And it seems like their whole life is already programmed for them. And there is no free space for their own activity. So at that point in time, you may ask, within this time and this time, what will you love to do? And gain their opinion. And if their opinion and whatever they want to do during their leisure time is not the best, rather than saying no, suggest important things. Give them option of something better, rather than saying no to theirs. Because at that point in time, it will look as if the parents are lording it all over them, and rebellion will start.
Okay, so
without explaining why the no is no. Because a child may ask for a car. I told my son, I will actually teach you a car. But when you sit on the driver's seat, all you will see is heaven. Because the seat and the windscreen, you will not see the closest point on the road. So that is not the best time. Rather than saying, no, you are too small, just push them with a pump, just one hand away. You give them reason why it is not time. And when the time comes, if you are able to attain this, and this, then we can reason with you rather than a blanket no. Because children feels at that point in time, they need to discover their war by themselves. So what they need is parental guidance, not the Lord of the Rings.
Because from what you are saying now, it means parents have to be engaged mentally and intellectually in raising this group of people. It's not business as usual.
No, it's not business.
So no dulling in this.
No dulling. You have to sit up.
All right, this is normal. This is an uphill task, but I thank God that the Bible says we can do all things
through Christ.
Through Christ who strengthens us. Okay.
Okay, someone has said that when children become teenagers, discipline becomes discipleship. A lot of us who are Christians who have done discipleship, we know what it means to disciple children, people in our group. So you don't scream on your disciple. You mentor disciple, you lay option before them, you allow disciples to ask questions, you allow them to probe you, you allow them to, and first of all, if you want to raise teenagers, the first place to start is to have a home. What I mean by a home is a home that is peaceful, a husband and wife that are living together well. Because you see, all the lies you have told them with your life, when they were children, they were just saying, okay, no problem. When they are teenagers, they will say it to your face.
Their eyes are open.
They will tell you that, mommy and daddy, we know that you people don't agree on anything. They will, as children, they may not tell you anything. They will just keep quiet. When people are quarreling, fighting, doing all your pretending, they will not say anything. But when they are teenagers, they will tell you. So when the first place to start is to have a peaceful home. I'm not saying a home where no problem is happening, because every home has its own uniqueness. But a home that they can see that my daddy loves my mom. My mom loves my dad. These people respect each other. They can see it. It's tangible. It's something they can touch. They can feel. That's the beginning. Then you move on to begin to love the children. Love them unconditionally. Love them. When I mean love them unconditionally, I'm not loving them to spoil them. I'm loving them to be there for them. I'm loving them to be able to listen to them, to be sensitive to their needs. When your daughter says, mommy, I don't feel like talking, it's not time to be saying, how can you say you don't feel like talking? I am your mother. You must talk to me. Oh, do you want to be alone? Okay, I can excuse you. If you feel like talking, please, I'm around. I would like to talk with you. So give them space and be in their world, but out of their world also. Don't like a mother hen protecting her children, but then also the eagle allowed the children to fly. You drop them and allow them to test the waters. But then you give them guidance. Like he says, give them guidance. It is not a place where even if you want to give rules, if you have to set rules should be with explanations. It's not, the day I see you with a boy, I will just kill you. She is the day you see her with a boy. You will never see her with a boy, but it doesn't mean she doesn't have a boy. She will have a boy, because that's the point where they begin to have crushes. They have boys that they feel. One of my girls told me, hi, mommy, I like that boy. I say, the boy is handsome, but I say, mommy, the boy is fine. This girl is just 14. And, I start with her. She's not my daughter, really. I sat with her. I say, so what do you like about the boy and why? So we got talking. Eventually, she discovered that it was just fantasy, because they fantasize a lot. Some of them are in Nigeria, but they are already in America studying. One of them told me aeronautic engineering, flying all the airport, flying all the plane in America and living. In fact, one of them said his dream is to become the next American president. You know, they have weird dreams. So, you know, when you sit and talk with them, you'll understand their world. You will see their confusion. You'll be able to interact with them. Some of the things you turn it into joke, you know, make fun out of it. But you can't make fun when you are carrying a straight face all the time. Every time they see you in the house, good morning, sir. How are you? Why is this place dirty? You people are at home. These things are not done.
So you must
What
create
is
a
this?
conducive
Please,
environment
let a home.
where we can talk and interact, and they are confident that they are loved and accepted the way they are.
They are.
Okay, Uncle Dan, we're coming to you, but we'll go on break before Uncle Dan continues. And when we come back, we'll continue our discussion. So, break time. Hello viewers, welcome back from the break. We're here in the living room on Equa Television. We've been talking about discipline in the home, and today we've been focusing on teenagers, and many interesting things have come up about teenagers, how they are not children and they are not adults. In a world of confusion, trying to identify and understand who they are and what they are all about and where they are going. And we need to provide a conducive, understanding environment for them to thrive. We've been told this day that it's not time to lord it over them. Uncle Dan says we should not be Lord of the Rings, but rather we should give a listening ear to hear them, to talk with them, and to know what is going on with them. We should be open, available, and loving. We should love them unconditionally. Okay, Uncle Dan, you were about to delve in again before we went on break. So,
okay,
how we handle our teenagers.
And I asked him what's the meaning of adolescence. And the answer he gave me shocked me. He said, if you looked at the sound of the word adolescent, that he can induce adult without sense.
Oh.
That he doesn't know the spelling, but from the word adolescent, they are adults, but they don't have the sense to navigate the process. So at this time, I want to plead with parents, answer all their questions. Because the question you fail to answer, they will seek for the answer elsewhere.
Outside, yeah.
Okay, just Dan, we are coming back to you. Now you're saying answer all questions. What if the questions are difficult for parents to answer?
I think he said it. Bringing up adolescent children, that's teenagers, means that you go back to school. You have to be learning every day because they can spring up surprises.
Okay.
So when you have such incident, the truth is, but don't pretend what you don't know.
Okay, the one you don't know, you don't know that you don't know.
This one I don't know. Let me go and find out. And when you please go and find out and get back to them because they are waiting for you. If they wait for you once,
why are you looking at me and telling me as if it's me? Tell the audience, is it me? Is it me? Tell them to find out.
If you wait for you once, twice, and you don't come back, they will go and look for answers from their friends. And most times, the entertainment, in fact, the world that captures teenagers most is the entertainment industry. They love them because they can use them. There was a young girl who was singing, which I think she was about 16, or either 16 or 15. She was singing, she had a very wonderful voice. the entertainment industry picked that girl. If you see her now, you will feel like crying for her. They sponsor her, they put her on video shoot, they did a lot of things for her. And now in fact, she was almost naked in one of her videos. And I don't think she's 18 now. So the entertainment industry is there. They are a bigger hawk. So you have to capture your
wolves
children.
waiting to catch our sheep.
So if you don't capture them, they are there. They know how to throw those petals before them that will attract them to come to them.
Okay, Dan was still talking before we cut him short.
Yeah.
And please give us an example of some of the questions they will ask, or at least give parents expo so that we can be preparing.
A teenager met me and asked, "Uncle, is it okay to have sex just after your period?"
Wonderful.
That is a pregnant question. It simply means so many things would have been going on and she needs a lot of answers. So parents, if your children ask you question, answer the question to the best of your knowledge. And don't hide secrets. Don't hide the dark side of their question. Every question they ask is to discover new things.
And truth.
Tell them the truth. And when you cannot answer their question, and you seems not to be able to answer their question, introduce them to somebody that you know that can answer their question in a godly way. Someone said, if you cannot choose their friend, give them an environment to choose their friend.
Exactly.
If they choose their friend from the social media, you are in trouble. If they choose their friend among the environment you create for them, a closed environment, an environment you know just a little, it will help. Now, they asked you series of questions that pertains to life and godliness. As to those things, you answer faithfully. And if you discover that their question is born out of a craving, then you need to share information and experience. Or else, they will Google. And Google will not tell them the side effects because they are not looking for it. So if they want an answer on relationship, how to cope with crushes, and you seems to be limited in that point, introduce such a person to an expert in the field. So as a father and as a mother, you are going to also do research on who your child will also want to listen other than you. You've been teaching for 13 years. You'll be teaching for 15 years. And maybe you have exhausted your syllabus. There's a reason, there's a need to change school. Look for somebody that they will listen to and let the person begin another discipleship, as Mommy we said. They are in a school and they need good teachers because the wrong teacher will give them the wrong information. If you go to the social media, Facebook, you see all sorts of teenagers doing all sorts of unworthy things. You tell them, even when you visit there, know that you are different. But for every question they ask you, please give them an honest answer. A child asked his parents that she has beginning to feel pain on the nipple. They just wave it with a, don't worry, it's like that for everybody. Only for us to ask her friends, and they say they are not feeling it. You said it's for everybody now. And her friends are not feeling it. She now asked them, why are you not feeling it? They now gave her the wrong information. That is because they are pressing it. She was the one that looked for somebody to press it for her because she was uncomfortable. If the parent would have really explained that that is a stage of maturity, and that maturity comes to everybody at different times, you would have helped the situation. She found herself in a wrong principle, got a wrong advice, and end up really, really suffering. I don't want to talk because we're on air. I don't want to talk how it ended. She went to look for a way to solve the problem, and she got into serious trouble. She even lost her womb in the process, to cut the long story short, because the parent failed to answer the questions.
That's pretty sad. That's
Pretty
very sad.
So parents, as much as you can,
But I think sometimes the challenge is that parents are uncomfortable about discussing certain things. Like I remember one time in after women's fellowship one day, I think we talked about something like this. Somebody came after me and was like, her daughter is asking her where babies are coming from. She doesn't know how to answer that question. That is so embarrassing that she doesn't know what to say. So what should she do? Well, I told her, I said, well, you have to strengthen your heart. Because if you don't teach those children yourself, they will get the information somewhere else. So you need to just find a way to talk to your children and tell them the truth. Don't tell them lies. Because I remember when I was growing up, I know I asked that question. I was curious, and I was a very curious child. Where do babies come from? My mother told me some cock and bull story. And I went and thought about it. I said, this thing cannot be true. I think I asked her 2 or 3 times. She never gave me the right answer. And I think some of my friends told me something, which I later found out was not exactly correct. But I heard something. And well, God helped me that I didn't act on those things that I heard. But I think parents just have to find a way to be comfortable to talk to they're your children. You have to find a way to talk about these things.
Most especially on relationship.
So, if parents, because I know you had said earlier that if you have exhausted your syllabus, you should send them to somebody who can address the issue. But I think there are some, I may be wrong, but I personally think that there are certain discussions that even if you do not have all the information, you should at least start that discussion with your children to give them an idea of what it's about and the godly perspective of that issue. So one of those things, as we had discussed in previous editions, the issue of sexuality education. I think parents, you should say something now.
You know, the truth
you can't say you don't know anything.
The truth is, it's not like parents don't know. You know, in Africa, I don't know whether it's only peculiar to Africa, we don't like talking about it. We shy away from these things. And they are affecting our children.
But now, as you said, if you don't tell them, they will Google it. There's somewhere to find the information. Even when we were growing up, there was no Google, but there was gist on the streets. Your fellow children will tell you something.
So, as a mother, as a father, go and look for the information. Now that we're talking, if you are with us, ask questions. Ask questions from other people. If you don't know, there are other parents who have grown-up children whom you can see have raised godly children. How did you do it? I think the Bible says that older women should teach younger women. But sometimes the younger women will have to find out what they want to know. It's not that the older women will come and say, yeah, sit down, now I'm going to teach you, I'm the older. No. The younger women too should approach the older woman. Mommy, how did you do it? Auntie, how did you manage? My child is asking me this question. What should I do? You know, you will find help. That's why I used to say that if you are in a church, don't just sit down. Come every Sunday, after service, you run away, and you look like you are fighting everybody. Nobody is looking for trouble for you. Join a fellowship, join somewhere where you can ask questions. Especially when you start raising children, because you cannot raise the children alone. There are a lot of information that you do not have. But there are people who have some of this information. There's something I know that you don't know. There's something you know that I don't know. So as I give you you give me yours, and we bring our children. Is it not for the society to be a better place? If I bring up godly children, you bring up godly children, we will be afraid to send our children to the street. We won't be afraid. But some of the times I have brought up my children, but I am looking at you, and my children and your children are going to the same school. You know? So parents, please ask questions. Because it is in even asking questions that you will find an uncle or an auntie that has information that you can now say, by the way, have you built a relationship between that uncle and your child that you can now say, go to this uncle, he will help you.
So if you have been keeping your children away from people,
the school I am asking them to go is that, okay, I don't know the answer, but I think auntie knows the answer. Tomorrow we'll visit auntie together.
that means you would have had a relationship
going on with auntie.
So that brings
so we'll
up,
not learn it together because you also need to go to school.
So that means if parents have been operating in a world where we don't visit anybody, we don't talk to anybody, our friends and family is only us,
there's a problem.
there will be wahala.
Yes.
And then the thing you said about when we go to church, you should get involved, join fellowship and all that. That's what Hebrews 10:24-25 says. It says we should spur one another to love and good deeds. We should not neglect meeting of ourselves together. More especially as we see the day approaching. Because I know that some people, as you said, once they say the grace, you have reached the car. And sure, sometimes as they are starting the grace, you're already walking to your car. Before they finish, you have entered, the engine has started, and you have gone. So this also has brought up the issue that fellowship and relationship in church and in the, is helpful to you also in raising your kids.
And
so fellowship is not only going to church, is that you relate. That is fellowship. We relate so that we can learn, and we can also have other aunties and uncles that our children can relate with. And also we provide, as you said earlier, a sphere or a pool where our children can choose friends from.
Exactly.
Okay, Dan, back to you. Sorry.
Okay, I also want to advise parents that in the quest for knowledge, children want to do anything. Before they do, you tell them places to source for good information and help them source for such information together. Oh, I have a project, I want to learn about reproductive organ. You do it together and compare notes. But the issue is that most parents don't have time for the children. And I think most parents stop playing with their children
once they become teenagers.
Oh, you play with them when they were babies. You play hide and seek. You play what? Lido and all manner of game, football. But the moment they turn teenagers, they are left in their own world.
Why do parents do that? Because we need to understand why we do that so that we can
I may not know, but one thing I know, they are big enough to take care of themselves.
So you leave them?
Leave them to themselves. And I think that's the mistake. Because in playing, probably we're playing an outdoor game between you and your teenagers, and you begin to see one or two things that you felt shouldn't be. That is a place to begin to correct them.
A learning moment.
A learning moment. At that point in time, they are usually open, not secretive. Because a teenager, they change loyalty from parents to outside. It could be their teacher, it could be their uncles and aunties in the church, in Sunday school. They listen to somebody and they tell their deepest secret to somebody other than you, their parents.
That's so painful.
Even when you pray, they can give you some few percentage, but their deepest secret is usually outside. Because if they tell the secret in the house that they are the one lifting your monies, the next time you misplace your money, you know the prime suspects. So usually they tell outside, this is what I'm going through, this is what I'm going through. So that is why you need to introduce them to the best set of people and play with them. I am surprised sometimes when parents leave the children alone at things. And they have too many quiet moments, too many lonely moments. And it's usually said, an idle man is a devil's workshop.
Okay, now this play, how do you, what kind of play?
I mean physical play, outdoor play, intellectual play, sometimes play games, computer games with them. If they have PlayStation, try, let them beat you once or twice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You play,
Okay.
you play Ludo, you play chess, something, but don't leave them all to themselves in their own world. You discover at 18 that they are strangers to you
Wow.
because of the
hard.
gap.
Okay.
Because of the gap.
So
Still be in their life. They're still your children, though they are teenagers.
so do things with them.
Yeah.
Play. So
that is what I'm
parents,
saying.
don't be too
Play
serious.
football.
Right.
For the girls, play whatever kind of game they love playing. Sometimes you can even ride bicycle with them.
Chai.
But within the environment, within your compound. But don't leave them all to yourself and carry your newspaper or stick to the CNN because things are happening in the world and you forget your
Things
own
are happening in your own
Jerusalem.
house.
Okay, you want to say
I
something?
think that, I'm not trying to be partial, but I think that sometimes it is the fathers that are more, that neglect the boys the more. A lot of time, mothers are struggling with these boys. They don't know what to tell them. They don't know what is going on. And the boys also do not trust their mom to be able to help them because
she's
they
not a
feel
man,
that
she's not
she's
a-
not a man, she won't understand them. So the father goes to work and they come back and they're like, I'm tired. So when he's talking about their PlayStation, riding bikes with them, even if you are not going to ride, see, even if some of the house chores that these boys do, is it possible for you to do it with them? Like, you want them to wash cars. Can we wash these cars together?
Wow.
It's not going to reduce you as their father.
No.
You fetch water as they are mopping the car, you are throwing the water for them, or you are only holding the hose and a spring. You know, in that moment you could be talking about something.
So you are bonding.
You are bonding with them. You know, you are playing chess, you are bonding with them. You are doing some, you know, tell your son, please come, I'm going for a meeting. You know, sometimes I take my daughter for a meeting and I'm like, Mommy, your meetings are boring. I'm like, okay, but now you are knowing what it means to be an adult. So next time when I say, no, Mommy, I'm not going. But other times when I'm going to the market, I say, Mommy, I want to go to the market with you today.
Shopping.
I want to go shopping with you. I say, I don't have money to buy you. And he said, no, I just want to see the way the market
Window
is.
shopping.
It's because we have gone to market together before. I pick the girls at home and say, let's go to the market. The boys sometimes, but at a point, the boys felt, whenever I pick them to the market, I'm only taking them to buy meat and soup things.
But I mean, it is part of things you need to buy.
So I told the father, take this boy shopping. Go to the. You don't have to buy things. You know, even if it's
Just go out
one
with
shirt,
them.
just
Just
take
go out
them
with them.
out. You know, go somewhere. You know, some men have learned to take their children to go and play this. Is it golf? They call it golf.
Yeah, golf.
They go together. Even to your office, they're on holiday. You say,
them.
come and see the work I do in the office. Your son sits in the office with you and see how you carry file, drop another file. Somebody comes and if it's secret things, you can say, please, can you sit outside? I want to talk to this person. Your son is understanding, oh, so daddy goes
This
through
is how
all
the
of
adult
these.
world
This is what the adult world is. But not every day, I'm going to work. Pew, you have
You leave
gone.
them.
And they are at home.
So they
Especially
should-
now that ASU has put them at home.
So they should be involved in what you do, and you should
Yeah,
be involved in
what
what
they do.
Anyway, we have to wrap up. This conversation very interesting, but we'll have to continue next week. We'll have to wrap up. But one thing I would like to leave with us is we've said many things about raising these children, but we cannot downplay the place of prayer. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you.
Maybe next we'll talk about the spiritual side.
Yes, but just to remind parents that you need to pray. We need to pray for those children. We also need to pray for ourselves so that we'll be able to be open and be able to relate with those children at the level we need to relate with them. Because from what we've discussed here, as they say, no be moi moi. It's not easy. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of intellectual input. So it's not easy. So it's something we need to pray about and never give up. As we close, I just want to leave you with the story of the prodigal son. I think that boy did the worst thing possible. When you ask for your inheritance, that means you've already wished your father dead. But the father didn't give up on this boy, and he kept waiting for this boy to come back. And if you are waiting for your child to come back, even if the child has gone the wrong way, that means you must be on your knees, praying and seeking heaven, knocking on the doors of heaven until God does something for this child. So even if you have teenagers that have gone the wrong way, please don't give up. Keep praying, keep trusting, keep loving them unconditionally. And I know as the prodigal son came back, that child would come back someday.
Yes. Amen.
God bless you. Looking forward to seeing you again next week. We thank Uncle Daniel.
Thank you very much.
Auntie Ivy.
Thank you very
and
much.
myself, Auntie Amaka. God bless you and see you next week.
Thank you. Bye.